I think it's really important for patients that do not have brain metastasis to advocate for those who do, just as I feel like early stage breast cancer patients should be advocating for metastatic patients. Brain mets patients have a worse prognosis. They have really invasive treatment options. Things that can affect their quality of life, and they can be really debilitating. And so I just feel like this is a really vulnerable cohort of patients that we should be helping. We should be fighting for more research, more clinical trials, more treatment options for these patients, because sometimes they can't fight on their own. So like I say, I think it's sort of stage 4, and metastatic is kind of like in the misfits of the breast cancer community, and brain mets is just another level of that, where people are really scared of it. It is a really scary diagnosis, but I do think that there's a lot that we can do to help these patients. I think there are several things. They can be big or small, right? You can create a website. You can work at your local institution with patients, providing peer-to-peer support. So if somebody gets diagnosed, you can be part of a helpline, for example, helping patients cope with this diagnosis. Sometimes it can be really simple. Like I want to just share an example of, I am a patient at Hopkins. I live in Baltimore, and I'm very close with my oncologist. I work very closely with her. We've developed a research advocacy program together. And through that program, I've gotten to meet lots of different researchers. And one of the researchers I met was Dr. Danielle Gilks. She has her own lab, and she's a basic science researcher, so not an oncologist, and she had approached me about a DoD grant that she was submitting for. And it was a really interesting proposal, and it had to do with hypoxia, and it was a drug that I understood to be a small molecule that potentially could cross the blood-brain barrier. So I just asked her, I said, does this work in the brain? And she said, I have no idea. I don't know, let me find out. And what she did was she was able to go back to some folks that work on glioblastoma. And now part of her lab is dedicated to creating animal models for brain metastasis, which is an area really lacking. We really struggle to replicate brain metastasis, to replicate what it looks like in a breast cancer patient in animal models. So sometimes just a simple question of, does that work in the brain? If you are, if you work with your oncologist and they are running clinical trials, you can talk to them about making sure that they aren't excluding brain mets patients, or maybe they're substratifying, meaning they're allowing patients, but they're different degrees. So some patients can have active brain mets, some can have stable, some have none. This is a very doable protocol design. It's been done before with the HER2CLIMB trial for tucatinib, now known as TUKYSA. And so I think that it's just a constant, I'm always just pushing. So even if I'm reviewing grants for DoD or for Susan G. Komen, you can ask, I write in my reviews, why are you excluding patients, or why aren't you looking at this drug in brain metastasis? So I think asking a lot of questions, pushing, these are really effective ways to really be an advocate to these patients living with central nervous system disease.